Hey everyone, welcome back to Plot Explained. Today we're diving into one of the most divisive and intense films of the last decade, Darren Aronofsky's Mother, from 2017. Now, if you've seen this movie, you know it's a lot. And if you haven't seen it yet, buckle up because we're about to unpack everything. This is one of those films where you can't just watch it once and call it a day. There are layers upon layers of meaning packed into every frame. So in this video, we're going to break down the literal story first, what actually happens in the movie. Then we're going to explore all the symbolic meanings, the biblical allegory, the environmental commentary, and even what it says about the creative process itself. By the end, you'll understand why this film makes people either love it or absolutely hate it. And yes, there will be full spoilers, so if you haven't watched it yet, maybe go do that first. Trust me, you want to experience this one fresh. Alright. So let's walk through what actually happens in this movie, scene by scene, because there's a lot going on and it gets absolutely wild. The film opens with a woman burning alive in a house fire. Then we see him, Javier Bardem's character, a poet, placing a crystal object on a stand, and suddenly the burned house is restored. A young woman, Mother, played by Jennifer Lawrence, wakes up in bed calling for her husband. Right away, we know something strange is happening with time and reality. Mother and him live in this beautiful, isolated Victorian house in the middle of nowhere. There's no neighbors, no visible town, just this house surrounded by fields and forests. Mother is renovating the entire place, working on it with her own hands, painting, decorating, making it perfect. She's completely devoted to creating this paradise for them. Him is a famous poet, but he's struggling with writer's block. He can't write anything new, and it's clearly eating at him. Mother supports him, brings him lemonade while he stares at blank pages, tries to create the perfect peaceful environment for his creativity to flow. One night, there's a knock at the door. It's a man, played by Ed Harris, who says he's a doctor and thought the house was a bed and breakfast. Instead of politely turning him away, him immediately invites this complete stranger to stay with them. Mother is visibly uncomfortable. This is her home, her sanctuary, but him insists. The man is a fan of him's poetry. He's dying, and he wanted to meet his idol before he passes. They bond over whiskey and cigarettes. The man is coughing constantly, clearly very ill, and there's this wound on his side. Mother tries to be a good host, but she keeps asking him privately why he invited this stranger into their home. Him brushes off her concerns. He seems almost addicted to the admiration this fan is giving him. The next morning, things get worse. The man's wife shows up, Michelle Pfeiffer's character. She just walks right in, and again, him invites her to stay without consulting Mother. This woman is immediately intrusive and inappropriate. She's drinking, smoking in the house despite Mother asking her not to, making passive-aggressive comments about Mother being younger than him, asking invasive questions about their sex life and why they don't have children. Mother shows the guests around but explicitly tells them not to go into him's study. It's his private workspace. But of course, they do exactly that. They go in there and break something precious. This crystal object on a stand in his study, the same one we saw in the opening. Him freaks out, and seals off the study to prevent anyone from going in there ever again. That night, Mother finds the couple being intimate in her house, and she's had enough. She demands they leave, but him defends them, makes excuses for them, and won't kick them out. Mother is trapped in her own home with these people she doesn't want there. Then it gets darker. The couple's two adult sons show up. They're fighting about their dying father's will. Who's going to inherit what? The younger son is clearly the golden child, the older one is angry and resentful. Their argument gets increasingly heated. Suddenly, in a moment of rage, the older brother violently attacks the younger brother, and he gets seriously injured. There's blood everywhere, and they rush him to the hospital, but he dies. Mother was right there when it happened. She witnessed a murder in her own home. You'd think after that, everyone would leave, right? Wrong. Him decides to host the funeral at their house. Mother is in shock, traumatized, but him is playing the supportive friend to this grieving family. The funeral turns into a wake, and people start arriving. Dozens of mourners fill the house. They're drinking, eating, talking loudly. Someone sits on Mother's unsupported sink and it breaks, crashing to the floor. Water starts flooding. People are getting drunk, being careless, breaking things. Mother is trying to hold it together, until Mother snaps, and finally, him gets everyone to leave. After everyone's gone, Mother and him survey the damage. The house is trashed, but then something shifts. They connect, they're intimate, and when mother wakes up the next morning, she feels like she's pregnant. She's overjoyed, she tells him, and that's when his writer block breaks, and for a brief moment, everything seems perfect. He's creating again, they're going to have a baby, maybe all that chaos was worth it. Him finishes his new poem and decides to publish it. Mother is still renovating, preparing the house for their baby. Things are calm, they're happy. It seems like the worst is behind them. But then people start showing up. Fans of him's new work. At first, it's just one or two people at the door, wanting to meet him, wanting autographs. Him is gracious, invites them in for a moment. They take pictures, they gush about his work. Then more people come, and more, and more. Suddenly there are dozens of people in the house. They're not just fans, they're obsessed. They're treating him like a messiah, his words like gospel. They're quoting his poetry back to him, analyzing every line, fighting over interpretations. Mother is increasingly panicked. She's pregnant, the house is full of strangers, and him is soaking up the attention. She keeps trying to get him to make them leave, but he's lost in the adoration. He needs this worship. People start claiming rooms, setting up camp in different parts of the house. They're going through mother's things, taking objects as souvenirs. When mother tries to stop them, they ignore her or get hostile. It's her house, but she's being treated like she's the intruder. Things spiral completely out of control. The crowd grows into the hundreds. People are breaking down walls, destroying the renovations mother worked so hard on. They're forming factions based on different interpretations of him's work. Arguments break out, fights start. Then it turns violent. People are attacking each other. There's blood. There are executions happening in the basement. His followers are killing people they deem as heretics. There are refugees fleeing through the house. There's a full military presence with soldiers. It's literally war happening inside this house. Mother is trying to escape through her own home, but she's trapped by the crowds. She's visibly pregnant now, and she's terrified. She's trying to find him, trying to get help, but no one cares about her. She witnesses torture, murder, absolute brutality. Bombs start going off. Parts of the house are on fire. People are dying everywhere. And through all of this, him is still holding court, still basking in the worship, still letting all of this happen. Mother goes into labor in the middle of this war zone. Him finally helps her get to safety, clearing a path through the crowd. He takes her upstairs to the study and locks the door. The crowd is literally beating on the door trying to get in. And that's when mother gives birth. She's exhausted, traumatized, but she has her baby. Him wants to hold the baby, but mother refuses. She knows if he takes that baby out to those people, something terrible will happen. She holds that baby for what seems like days, not eating, not sleeping, just protecting her child. But eventually, she's so exhausted she falls asleep for just a moment. Just a few seconds, and when she wakes up, him has taken the baby. He's out there showing the baby to his followers. Mother runs out, fights through the crowd, screaming for her baby. She finds the baby in the center of a massive crowd. They're holding the baby up like it's a blessing. The crowd is reaching for it, worshipping it. And then it happens, they kill it. They snap its neck, and then, and this is the most disturbing part of the film, they start tearing pieces off the baby's body and eating it. It's a communion, a religious ritual, and it's absolutely horrifying. And finally, mother loses her mind. She's screaming, trying to fight through the crowd to get to her baby's body, but they won't let her through. She sees what's left of her child being passed around, consumed, and then she starts killing people. But the crowd realizes what she's doing and they turn on her. They beat her brutally. They're kicking her, hitting her, tearing at her clothes. It's vicious. That's when him finally pulls her out of the crowd, but mother blames him for the death of the child and runs down to the basement with a lighter in hand, and leaks the oil tank, and burns the entire house down along with everyone in it. And then we see him carrying mother, and she's dying. Her body is broken, and she asks him, "What are you?" He tells her he's sorry, but he needs one more thing. He asks her if she loves him, and that he wants just one more thing from her, her love. She tells him to take it, take her love, and then he reaches into her chest and pulls out a glowing crystal heart. As he removes it, her body starts to burn and crumble to ash. The whole house is burned, everything is destroyed, and then him places mother's heart on the stand in his study. And the house reforms around him, restored to its original beauty. A new woman wakes up in the bed, looking for him, just the way mother did in the beginning, and the cycle begins again. That's what literally happens in this movie. Now let's talk about what it all means. Okay, so here's where Mother really blows your mind. This entire film is basically a compressed retelling of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelations, playing out in one house. Let's start with the characters. Him, the poet, represents God, the creator. He's literally a writer who creates through his words. Mother represents Mother Earth, Mother Nature. She's literally the house itself, the foundation of everything. The house? That's Eden, that's Earth, that's creation itself. Notice how Mother feels everything that happens to the house. When people damage it, she feels pain. The house and Mother are one and the same. Now, those first two guests, Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer, they're Adam and Eve. Seriously, Harris' character is even shown with a wound on his rib, which is how Eve was created in Genesis. And what do? They go into him's study, the forbidden room, the forbidden fruit, even though Mother explicitly told them not to. That's the fall from Eden right there. They're two sons who show up fighting over the will? That's Cain and Abel, and just like in the Bible, one brother kills the other out of jealousy. The first murder, happening right there in paradise. The funeral that turns into a chaotic, destructive party represents humanity spreading across the earth and starting to really mess things up. People are breaking Mother's home, being careless, causing damage. It's the beginning of humanity's disregard for the earth. Then him writes his new poem and publishes it. This is the New Testament, the Word of God going out into the world. And what happens? People don't just read it, they worship it, they obsess over it, they form religions around it. The crowd that invades the house represents humanity throughout history, followers of religion who become increasingly fanatical. You can see them literally creating religious iconography from his work, arguing over interpretations, splitting into factions. The violence that breaks out? That's all the religious wars, the crusades, the conflicts fought in God's name throughout human history. People are literally killing each other in him's house, believing they're doing it for him. And then we get to the baby. Mother gives birth, and this infant represents Jesus Christ, the Son of God, born of Mary. Mother knows her child is precious and tries to protect him, but him wants to share the baby with his followers. When the crowd kills and consumes the baby, that's the crucifixion and communion. It's the Eucharist taken to its most horrifying literal extreme. Mother's attempt to burn everything down is the apocalypse, the end times. And when him takes the crystal from her heart, her essence, her love, and she burns to ash, that's the earth being consumed. But here's the really dark part. It all starts over again. Him places the crystal, another woman wakes up, and the cycle begins anew. It's suggesting that this pattern of creation, exploitation, destruction, and rebirth might be endless. But Mother isn't just a biblical allegory, it's also a powerful environmental commentary, and honestly, this reading might be even more relevant today. Mother, as we discussed, is Mother Nature personified. The house is the earth. And what does the film show us? Humanity, represented by all those people who invade the home, completely destroying the environment while God, the Creator, just watches and does nothing to stop it. Think about Mother's experience throughout the film. She's constantly trying to maintain the house, to keep it beautiful and functional. She's nurturing, creating, fixing. But no matter what she does, these people keep coming in and destroying everything she's built. They don't care about the house, they don't respect it, they just take what they want and leave destruction in their wake. There's this really telling moment where Mother asks him why he lets all these people in, why he doesn't make them leave. And he says they inspire him, he needs their adoration. That's humanity's relationship with religion and faith in a nutshell. We seek meaning and purpose, but in our fervor, we forget to take care of the world we're actually living in. The film shows humanity's progression from small-scale damage to complete environmental catastrophe. First, it's just a broken sink, some cigarette ash. Then it's widespread vandalism. Then it's war, bloodshed, complete chaos. The escalation mirrors how environmental destruction has accelerated throughout human history. And where is God in all this? Him just stands by. He's more concerned with his art, with his followers' devotion, than with protecting Mother or the house. It's a pretty damning statement about religious institutions that focus on faith and devotion while ignoring environmental stewardship. Mother's pregnancy and the birth of her child could represent Earth's final attempt at renewal, at creating something pure and innocent. But humanity destroys even that, consuming it for their own spiritual needs without thinking about the consequences. When Mother finally fights back, when she tries to burn everything down, she's acting in self-defense. The Earth fighting back against the species that's killing it. But she's overpowered, beaten down by the masses who have already decided she's worthless compared to their devotion to him. The most chilling part? After everything is destroyed, it just starts again with a new woman. The implication is that God will simply create a new earth, a new nature, and the cycle of exploitation and destruction will continue. It's asking, what happens when we've used up this planet? Do we just move on to the next one? Now here's a layer that's easy to miss but incredibly personal. Mother is also about the relationship between an artist and their muse, and what happens when the art becomes more important than the person who inspired it. Him as a creator, an artist, specifically a poet. He's suffering from creative block at the beginning, unable to produce. Mother is his muse, his inspiration. She's literally building and rebuilding his world, creating the environment where he can work. But notice what happens when the outside world comes in. Him becomes completely absorbed in the attention, the adoration of his fans. He's so hungry for validation, for that external love and worship, that he forgets about Mother, the person who's actually been there supporting him all along. This is Aronofsky making a statement about artists who become consumed by fame and public adoration to the point where they sacrifice everything personal and real for it. Him lets strangers destroy his home, traumatize his wife, just so he can bask in their praise. When Mother is pregnant, you'd think that would be the priority, his partner, his child, his family. But the moment his new work is published and people want to celebrate it, he throws open the doors. The art and the acclaim are more important than the person who made the art possible in the first place. The baby being killed can be read as the artist sacrificing his own child, his future, his legacy, his real life, to feed the audience's appetite. Artists who give everything to their fans, to their art, even when it destroys their personal lives and relationships. And Mother's rage, her attempt to burn it all down, is the muse finally saying, enough. It's the partner of an artist who's been neglected and exploited finally fighting back. But she loses. The artist takes that final piece of her heart, her essence, uses it as inspiration, and moves on to the next muse. The cycle starting over with a new woman is particularly brutal from this perspective. It suggests that some artists will just keep repeating this pattern, finding someone who inspires them, using them up, taking what they need, and moving on to the next source of inspiration. So now that we understand what the film is doing, let's talk about why it's so divisive. Because this movie has a 68% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics but got an F from audiences on CinemaScore. That's basically unheard of. First, Mother is intentionally uncomfortable. Aronofsky doesn't give you any breaks from the tension. The whole film is shot in close-up, following Mother around, making you feel her claustrophobia and anxiety, which I literally feel every time I watch this movie. There's no score to guide your emotions, just ambient sound that gets increasingly chaotic. It's designed to be an endurance test. Second, the symbolism is really on the nose once you see it. Some people appreciate that directness, while others find it heavy-handed. When you realize you're literally watching the Bible play out. Third, the violence and disturbing imagery, especially in the final act, is extreme. The baby scene in particular is something many viewers, including me, found unwatchable. Aronofsky doesn't pull punches, and that level of brutality isn't for everyone. Fourth, it's a film that requires you to engage with it intellectually. If you're just watching it as a straightforward horror or thriller, it's going to feel weird and unsatisfying. But if you're reading the symbolism, it's a completely different experience. And finally, it's pretty critical of both religion and humanity in general. That's going to rub people the wrong way, especially if they feel personally attacked by the film's message. So, is Mother a masterpiece or a mess? Honestly, I think it's both, and that's kind of the point. This is a film that's trying to do something genuinely ambitious, to tell multiple stories at once, to be a biblical epic, an environmental warning, and a personal artistic statement all in one 2-hour movie. Does it always work? No. Is it subtle? Absolutely not. But you can't say it's not trying to say something important. What I personally appreciate about Mother is that it commits fully to its vision. Aronofsky doesn't compromise or soften the message for wider appeal. He made exactly the film he wanted to make, knowing it would alienate people, and I respect that kind of artistic conviction. Whether you love it or hate it, you can't deny that Mother makes you think, makes you feel something, and sticks with you long after it's over. In an era of safe, focus-grouped entertainment, there's something refreshing about a film that's willing to be this bold and divisive. If you haven't seen it, I'd say it's worth watching at least once, just for the experience. Go in knowing what you're getting into. know that it's going to be intense, uncomfortable, and deeply symbolic. And maybe watch it with someone so you can talk about it afterwards, because this is definitely a movie that demands discussion. Alright, that's my complete breakdown of Mother. What did you think of the film? Did you love it, hate it, or are you somewhere in between? What symbolism did I miss? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into complex films, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got a lot more movie breakdowns and analysis coming soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.